I'm really fascinated by games that offer unique experiences or perspectives, or tackle things in gaming that we just don't tackle. And Inner Ashes is certainly a game that does that, because this game is all about experiencing life as someone who's suffering from Alzheimer's. You play as the character of Henry, who, when you join start the game, is in the early stages of Alzheimer's, but is trying to get on with life and is just like knackered and slightly frustrated and annoyed at the whole thing. But over the course of the game, that's split up into 8 periods of time, you and your daughter Enid become more fractious, more stressed, more at odds with each other as Henry's condition sees him deteriorate over time. It's not a happy story for the vast majority of it, but it's a realistic take on some of the things that Alzheimer's does to people, because it rips away their personality and their soul and their being in the same way that dementia does. And we just don't get this in gaming. And so that's why I wanted to do a review for this. I think also just being like truly transparent from a personal perspective, my personal situation is absolutely cack at the minute. My dad's in hospital. It's really grim. But part of the issue in the background is that we think that there's early onset of Alzheimer's there because he's very confused, making up language, takes ages to recognise people and kind of click into a conversation, but then it's difficult for him to find the language to get it out. And so this game was really timely to play for me, and I think part of the reason why this has landed so well was the timeliness of it, but it takes a very matter-of-fact approach to the devastation that the disease gives you. When you play the game, each of those 8 time periods as you play as Henry is split into 2 very distinct sections. The first section sees you playing in Henry's house, and oddly, even though this is the most grounded part of the game, this is where some of the big, like, subtle, emotional, hard-hitting moments take place. And it's largely down to his post-it note collection, which sounds very strange. But essentially, he's put post-it notes around the house to remind him of all the different things that are there. So the calendar early on is just things like, don't forget Enid's birthday, and don't forget your mate Joseph's, you're going out like this weekend or whatever. And all of that seems quite fine. And then you start to notice things like, oh, I've got this new support thing for the milk because I can't pour it properly anymore. And at the beginning of the game, he's like, stupid thing, I don't even know why I need it. Then by the midpoint, he's like, I'm quite glad I've got that because I am a bit clumsy now. So it's as if he's starting to accept the fact that Alzheimer's is debilitating him, but he's still quite frustrated. And things that were just like, remember to clean blah-de-blah and take out the washing and do the trash and everything, now becomes like, this rag is for cleaning. But then as you go through the game and then it's time to do some of the cleaning, there's some great moments where he thinks he's putting a scarf on a shelf, but actually it then is revealed that you've picked up Christmas lights and put it on a hat stand. But you weren't sure of that at the time. And the voice acting starts to become laboured and then slurred. And by the end of the game, the post-it notes are totally unreadable because he no longer understands language and is looking for words to try and express what he's feeling, but he can't do it anymore. And it doesn't like hammer it home with massive music and big drama everywhere. It's just, it has happened. And there's a few like genius moments of storytelling that really hit home what this does in a gaming context. And for that, Inner Ashes, I think, needs to be really applauded. Once you've finished with the home stage in each of these 8 areas, you then move forward into the what I'll call like the dreamlike world. And the idea is that each of these dreams that you kind of wander into, which you're looking through your daughter's sketchbook, that kind of conjures these dreams, they're representations of different symptoms of Alzheimer's. And this is kind of where the puzzle element of the game comes in, because the home element is just a walking simulator going around and experiencing the world as someone who's now in a different stage of Alzheimer's. In this game, when you get into the dream-like islands, you'll be looking for collectibles to be able to put memories back together so that you can recount situations where the relationship between yourself and your daughter Enid, or your workmate Joseph, who's trying to look out for Enid but also keep you on the straight and narrow too, because you're not doing well at work now either. As you interact with those two characters, your relationships with both of them start to break down and become more fractious as you get more frustrated. And so finding these collectible pictures or letters or notices from doctors or reading carers' notes and things like that starts to help you to put these pieces of memories back together. The puzzles themselves are mostly tangrams, and that's all around just arranging blocks into specific areas so that it can make the memory whole again. And that normally opens up new areas for you to then explore and maybe pick up some more collectibles, and or maybe pick up some wood to build bridges or to do various different things. What then makes you be able to link the two sections of this game together is that quite often there's something in your house that's required to pull the memory back together. And so you'll always find your sofa somewhere in this dream world. And when you sit on it, you then wake up back at home again and can go and find, like the first puzzle is all around, like you need time for the garden to grow. So you'll go and sit back in your sofa and then get the wall clock and then take it into the dream world so that you can then make time go faster. The puzzles in Inner Ashes aren't difficult, but what is difficult and tricky, and where my biggest criticism for Inner Ashes lie, is that the puzzles are built in a way that mean that you can quite often end up in situations where you shouldn't be, and so the game becomes broken and you need to restart the entire game from scratch. This happened to me 3 times in 3 different puzzles, and so I found that quite unacceptable and really frustrating, particularly when the game is all about Alzheimer's. I felt like it was almost like a meta troll to some degree. There was ones where my collectibles glitched out and wouldn't actually, like they just disappeared. But my game had saved, so I was stuck and I had to go back again. That was really annoying because it was in the second last level. There was one quite early on where I'd picked up a collectible, broken a wall with it because that was what it was designed to do. And then you have to take that collectible with you and put it into a slot. I then ran back to my sofa to sit on it because I thought I had to go to my house to go and get the next collectible. It wasn't there, so I came back up the sofa back into the dream world. Lo and behold, the broken wall is now fixed. Where's my collectible? Beyond it. Can I get through? No, it's a restart. And there was another one where I had a similar issue where it was around building bridges, and actually that glitched out and became a problem too. That was then tied on with a fourth problem, which was where I went to click start game accidentally because it was difficult to work out whether the blue text was the highlighted thing for start new game or continue. I found out it was the blue text because it just went in and replaced my save halfway through the game without asking me. And it just felt like those kind of quality of life improvements and being able to not put you in totally broken situations really dragged down the experience of Inner Ashes for me, because if I'd have had this as a like one playthrough and done experience, then I think the memory of this game would have been longer lasting and much more positive. But actually I felt like I had to wrestle this game to the ground at times to actually complete it without it glitching out and causing me problems. So yeah, just bear that in mind when you play this game, that you want to do things in very specific orders, because otherwise the game will quite often put you in a corner and be like, nope, you got to restart. That aside though, if you're coming to this from a story perspective, there's plenty here. There's lots of layers to it. And the portrayal of Alzheimer's I thought was really thoughtfully and tastefully done, in a way where it just displays what's going on to you without the melodrama of moment-to-moment problems that come with it. The melodrama really comes from the father-daughter relationship and the additional complexities that are there. But yeah, interesting one, this one, and definitely one for the thinkers and the emotional people that are in the gaming community, of which I hold up my both hands and paws wholeheartedly to be part of. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network. a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/HigherPlaneNetwork. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.